move mountains. Matthew 17:20. The fact that faith can move mountains is a deep belief that what seems impossible can become possible when we choose to trust in something greater than ourselves. I've seen this power firsthand, not just in my life, but in the lives of many people who faced overwhelming odds and triumphed because they held onto faith. For me, that mountain was prosecution. I was up against one of the most frightening and uncertain periods of my life. And yet, somehow, in the middle of all that fear and turmoil, faith was the one thing that kept me grounded. When I was being prosecuted and faced a 10-year prison sentence, my thoughts often turned to my children. They were my pride and joy, the greatest blessing in my life. But I would be lying if I said I had a clear plan for what would happen to them if I were incarcerated. The truth is, there was no detailed, mapped out contingency plan. There was only faith. My husband, my mother, and I chose to believe that everything would work out, even if we couldn't see how. My mother, with unwavering faith, reassured me constantly that the situation would be resolved. And my husband, who stood by me through every terrifying moment, held on to his own quiet, steady belief that we would make it through this storm together. We hoped and prayed that I wouldn't face any prison time. The odds were steep, though. Statistics told us that this particular judge sentenced criminal defendants responsible for financial crimes harshly, and that the chances of me getting a lenient judgment were slim to none. But that's the thing about faith. It doesn't operate on statistics or logical outcomes. It operates on trust, belief, and a deep conviction that even when the outcome isn't what you want, it's still part of a bigger plan. And that's exactly what happened in my case. Things didn't go as we had hoped, but they worked out in a way that allowed us to handle the situation with grace and vigor. When it became clear that I would serve some prison time, we didn't panic. Instead, we continued to believe that somehow it would all come together. My mother and my husband rallied, but even more miraculously, we were able to bring my mother-in-law from Africa to help care for my children. It wasn't the solution we had originally envisioned, but it was the solution that we needed for the circumstances. Both my mother and my mother-in-law played an instrumental role in making sure that my children were loved, cared for, and supported during the most difficult times of our lives. You see, this is where faith shines brightest, in the moments where things don't go according to plan. I wanted no prison time. I wanted to be home with my family, but that's not how it worked out. And yet, it worked out exactly as it needed to. My children were surrounded by family. My husband had the support he needed to navigate his own emotions and responsibilities. And as I walked through those prison doors, I had the peace of knowing that we were still going to be okay. Faith doesn't mean that life will be easy or that we'll always get what we want. It doesn't mean that we won't face hardships or that everything will work out perfectly in our eyes. But it does mean that no matter what happens, we can trust that things are unfolding in the way they should. I was worried about being away from my children, but faith reminded me that they would be cared for. I feared the unknown, but faith gave me the strength to take each step forward even when the path wasn't clear. Looking back, I realized that faith gave me more than just comfort. It gave me the courage to keep going. When fear could have paralyzed me, faith pushed me to keep moving. It was that belief in something bigger than myself that allowed me to stay strong for my children, to support my husband, and to navigate one of the darkest seasons of my life without losing hope. This experience taught me that sometimes The mountains we faced aren't meant to be avoided or bypassed. Sometimes we're meant to climb them. And in doing so, we discover strengths and capabilities we didn't know we had. My journey through prosecution, incarceration, and separation from my family wasn't something I ever expected to face. But because I had faith, I didn't just survive, I grew. I came out stronger, more resilient, and more connected to my purpose than ever before. And this isn't just my story. This is the story of anyone who has faced insurmountable odds and found a way through them. Faith is the common thread that ties all these stories together. It's the belief that no matter how high the mountain, you can move through it, whether by climbing it, going around it, or sometimes watching it crumble right before your eyes when you least expect it. I know that some of you are facing your own mountains right now. Maybe it's a health issue, a financial struggle, a relationship on the brink, or like me, a legal battle that threatens to turn your world upside down. Whatever your mountain is, I want to remind you of this. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need to know exactly how things are going to work out. You just need to have faith. When I think about my children and how we managed to care for them during one of the toughest seasons of our lives, I am filled with gratitude. We didn't have a perfect plan, but we did have faith. And that faith opened doors we didn't even know existed. It brought my mother-in-law halfway across the world to help. It united my family in ways I couldn't have imagined. And it gave me the peace to keep moving forward, even when the road ahead was uncertain. So I urge you today, whatever mountain you're facing, don't give up. Don't let fear, doubt, or uncertainty stop you from believing that things can and will work out. You may not see the whole picture right now, but faith allows you to take one step at a time, trusting that each step will lead you closer to where you need to be. Even when things don't work out as we hope, they will work out as they should. My experience is living proof of that. I didn't get the outcome I initially wanted, but I got the outcome that was right for my family and me in the long run. And that's the beautiful thing about faith. It doesn't just move mountains. It also aligns us with the path we're meant to be on. So today I encourage you to hold on to faith. Keep believing, even when the odds seem stacked against you. Keep trusting, even when you can't see the way forward. And remember, sometimes the greatest blessings come not from things working out exactly as we planned, but from them working out exactly as they are meant to. Take that faith and move your mountains. You are stronger than you know. And with faith, anything is possible. Believe, trust, and move. You've got this. Peace and blessings, Dr. O.